Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. We are continuing the previous shir. In the previous shir, we talked about pikuach nefesh and rov. And what's the rule? The rule is like this. If a mapoles, if an avalanche of rocks falls on a child, and we don't know if the child is Jewish or not, and we want to know if we could be Mechal Shabbos for the Jew or not, even if it's rov goyim, we're Mechal Shabbos. Why? Because ksubis tesvav amud beis ein hochem bikuach nefesh achar harov. You don't follow the rov bikuach nefesh. You have to save the kid on the chance that he's a Jew and you're Mechal Shabbos. But we saw many other instances where we follow the rov when it comes to Dinei Nefashos. We follow the rov that rov bilos achar abal, and therefore you can assume that a person who's assumed to be the person's father is really their father, and therefore if they hit them, they're chayiv misa. How do you know he's really the father? Maybe he's not. Maybe the mother had a fling on the side. Rov bilos achar abal. You follow the rov. If you have edus, you have a stira. One says the second of the month this event happened, this murder. The other person says the third of the month it happened. What's the din? The din is you follow the rov and you say rov people make a mistake about Ibur Chodesh. Since most people make a mistake about Ibur Chodesh, so memela, you can kill the person based on their testimony because you follow the rov. We saw a case of somebody who throws a rock and there are 9 Jews and one Gentile, and we want to know if he's chayiv misa or not. So the Gemara says, kol kavul kamechza mechza dami, but if not for that rule, so you wouldn't have kol kavul kamechza mechza dami, you would kill him based on the rov, the fact that there are mostly Jews there, and you can assume that was his kavanah. Ben Sora More, we also saw another example that when he's a ben, when he's not royally karei of, you can kill him from 13 to 13 to 3 months. 13 to 3 months he's royally karei of because a woman starts showing at 3 months, pregnant, and that's going to be the deadline. After that, he can't be a ben Sora More. We said maybe no. Some women show earlier. A miyut of women gives birth 8th month, 7th month, and therefore we should make him not be a ben Sora More earlier because such a woman's going to be showing earlier. And that's just most women are giving birth in 9 months. And therefore, even though there's a case of Dinei Nefashos, you still follow the rov. So we see that when it comes to Dinei Nefashos, you follow rov. We said that's the mitzias. The rov is koveh, the mitzias, and you can't argue with that. Pikuach nefesh doesn't change the mitzias. What pikuach nefesh changes is doicha dinim, it's doicha isurim. So if you have an isur of Shabbos, the pikuach nefesh is going to be doicha Shabbos. But when it comes to trying to establish reality, the rov establishes reality, and pikuach nefesh cannot change that. That was what we were married in the previous year. I hope you heard the shir, saw the shir, and now we're going to be going weiter. Even if you didn't hear it, you can still hopefully b'siyata d'shmaya understand what we're going to say now. So things are pretty good chalak until now, and then ba Rambam ba misabechet enyanim kaviyachol. Rambam hakadosh kaviyachol. Rambam tamid oseh lanu sameach. Yira'eh li, zok the Rambam, Hilchos Isurei Bia, Perek Tesvav, Halacha Chov Zayin. It would appear to me, a chiddush, an eigene chiddush from the Rambam's own chiddush. Shekol Medina, literally, today Medina's, Medinat Yisrael, but any city, any place. Sheyesh ba shivcha, o akum, haruya leiled. So if you have in this place a non-Jewish maidservant, a goya, was able to give birth, and you find in a Sufi, you find a kid there, now you don't know, who does this belong to? Does he belong to this non-Jew, or does he belong to a Jewish person? So, the Rambam says that when this person gets married, his wife is only a suffix ishes ish. Even if they're rov Jews in this place, which means that he's probably a Jew, when he marries somebody, she's a suffix eshes ish, and memelu, when somebody has bia with his wife, with this eshes ish, that person is not chayiv misa. Why not? He had bia with an eshes ish. How do we know she's an eshes ish? Because the rov of the women in this town are Jewish women. Memelu, this is a Sufi, this kid who was brought in from the market. We don't know who he belongs to. Assume he belongs to a Jewish woman. The rov is koveh what the mitzias is. Here we're not talking about being doicha dinim. We're not like Shabbos. It's Shabbos. No. You want to know what happened over here? What's the reality? Is he Jewish or not? File the rov, just like in all the other cases we saw. So he's Jewish, right? And Memela's wife is an Eishes Ish. His wife's an Eishes Ish. If somebody has Bia with her, off with his head. Chai Misa. Zok the Rambam, Yeroi Eli, no. Not Chai Misa. V'habo alea poter. Why? She'ein horgin al hasofik. Because we don't kill based on a suffix. Even though it's Rov Yisrael, it's still a suffix. So what is the Rambam holding? That in Nefashos, in Dinei Nefashos, you're not following the Rov. Says the Ravid, excuse me, what about the Sugya in Sanhedrin? Sheholchim b'Dinei Nefashos achar Rov. It's an open Sugya in Sanhedrin, holchim b'Dinei Nefashos achar Rov. So how can the Rambam go against the Gemara? And the Rambam says, Yeroi Li, it's my Chiddush. Your Chiddush against the Gemara? Like they say, the Rambam L'shitasa against the Gemara. Not only that, the Rambam himself paskins that Holchem and Nefashos achar Rov. Zok the Rambam, Surei Bia, Perikim Halacha Beis, Habo al Aktana Eishes HaGadol, Im Kidsha Via, Hareze B'chenek. If a person has Bia with a Ketana, whose father married her off to another man, so she's an Eishes Ish, and he has Bia with her, he's Chai B'chenek, Chai Misa. Why? Maybe she's an islandess. You're going to find out later, maybe she's an islandess. And therefore, not 100% that he was Baal Eishes Ish, because if she's an islandess, the whole marriage never took place in the first place. She's not an Eishes Ish. As Ma'omrim, Pshut Me'od. Most women aren't Eilonios. And in Dinei Nefashos, Holchim achar Rov. So Rambam himself paskins you follow the Rov. So now we're in between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, the Gemara says, Dinei Nefashos achar Rov. On the other hand, the Rambam says, Dinei Nefashos achar Rov. On the other hand, the Rambam says that in Dinei Nefashos, you don't follow the Rov. Zenosei Rachav. This is mamish fodder for the Achronim to really expand upon and satiate us with so many Hagdaras and Chidushim. So in this year, we're going to go in one Mahalach based on the Achronim. Achronim say that there are two dinim in Halicha Achar Harov. What are the two dinim? We know that there's something called Ruba de Isa Kaman and Ruba de Lesa Kaman. Ruba de Isa Kaman means a rov that's in front of us. 10 stores of meat, 9 of them are McDavid's, and 1 of them is McDonald's. 9 kosher, 1 treif. Ruba de Isa Kaman, it's a rov that's in front of us. Statistical. There's another rov, and that's a Ruba de Lesa Kaman. It's not a statistic, it's nature. It's just the way things are. Most animals are not treifus. Most beilos achar abal. It's not like it's in front of us and we're watching them have bia and we say, oh, let's count it up. Oh, she 25 times with her husband, 6 times with that other guy. No, it's not counted up. It's tebel ro beilos achar abal. It's Ruba de Lesa Kaman. Gemara says, Mina milsa dam rabban zilba seruba. How do the rabbis know you go after the rov? Frek the Gemara, how do you know you go after the rov? Achar rab mahatos. An open pasuk. Follow the rov in the Sanhedrin. Zokt Rashi that achar rab mahatos is mashma bein Ruba de Isa Kaman and bein Ruba de Lesa Kaman. Now, what's the Sanhedrin? Is it Isa Kaman or Lesa Kaman? It's in front of us or not? It's statistical or it's a fact of nature? Obviously, it's in front of us. Ruba de Isa Kaman. It's a statistic. This amount of judges say like this. That amount of judges say like that. Zok Rashi that even though we know it's a Rubidisa come on, but Achrei Rab Lahatos Mashma Bein Rubidisa come on, Rubid Lesaka Rubid come on. Like Rashi, don't be mechalik between the two. Rubidisa, Rubidalesa, Achrei Lahatos teaches you both. The Maishna Hai Mai Hai, why are they different? Frek Achronim, why are they different? Because they're different. That's why they're different. Think about a court. If you have these judges, it was like in the Supreme Court. They're always waiting who they're going to appoint to the Supreme Court. So if you're appointing a bunch of liberals, so when an abortion case comes, they're going to go fight their abort. If it's a conservative Supreme Court, we want to conserve ancient values. We used to have a value not to kill an unborn fetus. Depends who you're appointing. This court's going to say like this. That court's going to say like that. Same-sex marriage. If you have a liberal court, break the glass, Siman Tov Mazel Tov. Adam and Steve, not Adam and Eve. If you have a conservative court, conservative Supreme Court, they're going to say a man marrying a man, that's not an old-fashioned marriage. In the olden days, the way we used to do it was Adam and Eve. When Adam was a male and Eve was a female. The old-fashioned way. Depends which court. So you're talking about a court. Depends which court you have. They're going to come to different decisions. So if it's a rule with the Isa Kaman of Achrei Rab Lahatos, that's only by chance. This court went with this rov. Another court's going to have possibly a different rov, right? But when it comes to Ruba the Lesser Kaman, that's a rov kavua. That's a rov tivi. That's a natural rov. אז איך רש"י אומר שאין הבדל בין רובה דאיתא קמן לרובה דלתא קמן כאשר יש הבדל ברור? It's a big difference to him. The Maritz Chayes, one of the great choikrim of our within the Orthodox camp. I like those. From the Yerushalayim, the Chachomim. And obviously he was a great Lamdan. So he explains that in a Beis Din, when you follow the rov, there are two shlavim. There are two stages. And when you go after the rov, at each stage, something else is happening. It has a different character. ברשותכם, אני אצטט את לשונו של המהר"ץ חיוס. בבא קמא כ"ז עמוד ב', שם הסוגיה המפורסמת של רוב. החילוק בין הלוך אחרי הרוב לבין הכלל דרובו ככולו. There's one klal of going after the rov, and there's another klal that the rov is like everything, is like the kol, rubo kekulo. דהלוך אחרי הרוב, היינו, שהמיעוט נשאר עדיין, רק שאנו דנים אחריו, רק שאין דנים אחריו, רק עושים מעשה על פי הכרעת הרוב. When you go after the rov, that means that the miut, the minority, still exists. You just don't judge based on the minority. You follow the rov, but the minority is still there. Rubo kechulo. What's rubo kechulo? Hainu shenitapech hamiut larov. The miut turns into the rov. V'lo nishar achar hachra mishum miut klal. The miut, the minority, went bye-bye. No more miut. If it's halicha achar rov, there is a miut. And if it's rubo kichulo, it's kulo. There's no more miut anymore. Bye-bye miut. And the miut has to admit to the rov that the rov is right and that they're maskim to the rov. And if there's a gemar din and there's just a rov, you can't finish the din because you need all the judges. You can't say some of the judges aren't there. You need a complete court. And how do you get that? They all have to agree. They're moded. And the miut turns into the rov. So that is the difference between halicha achar rov and rubo kechulo. Halicha achar rov means there's still a miut. And then rubo kechulo is Weiter, that there's no miyut anymore. The miyut is batal to the rov. The chinuch in Mitzvah Ayin Ches explains why we have a din of Achrei Rab Lahatos following majority in the court. Hodiatanu Torah, the Torah is teaching us, it's more likely that the majority are correct than the minority. That's what the Torah is telling us. So if that's true, then we have a new Hagdara of following the courts. When we're counting them up, and we say it's 16 to 7, so you have 16, A, 7, Nay. Okay? But weiter, when they're machriya the din, that's only stage 1. Stage 2, when they're machriya the din, what's happening now? The miyut has to be maskim to the rov. Why? Because the Torah is telling us, like the chinuch says, that it's more likely that the most dayanim are correct than the miyut. It's most likely that the rov is correct and not the miyut. And therefore the miyut has to say, oh, if that's the case, then you must be right. We agree with you. And now what happened? It was transformed from a ruba di isa kaman to a ruba di lesa kaman. Via zoy, the beginning was ruba di isa kaman because you count 16 this way, 7 the other way. But now that the 7 see the 16 are against them, they say, okay, chances are the majority is correct. That's the teva. So we agree with you. What's teva? When you have a rule based on nature, you know what that's called? That's called a ruba de lesa kaman. Because it's usually not always 100% the case. It's usually the case. And therefore, the miyut has to agree to the rov. And it turns into a ruba de lesa kaman. Because they're saying, yeah, you're right. You're right. We agree with you. So this court case started as ruba de isa kaman, but then it turned into something of nature. Afterwards, naturally, it makes sense that you're right, and therefore we have to agree to you. So you're right. At the beginning, it was mashu mikri. But now, at the later stage where they're machriya the din, now it turns into a rov shebeteva. So when they're expressing their opinions, it's a ruba de isa kaman. But afterwards, they have to paskin. Things change around. Turns into a ruba de lesa kaman. Turns into something of nature. We see this yisod in the Shmaitza. In Shmaitza Bey's Perek Tesvav, where he says that the rule of kol de parish me ruba parish doesn't mean that we know that it really was parish from the rov. If you find a piece of meat on the street, okay, and there are 9 McDavids and 1 McDonald's, is it necessarily true that it really came from the McDavids and it's kosher? Maybe it came from the McDonald's. Omer HaShev Shmaitze. Shmaitze Beis Perek Tesvav. Da'af agav dono holchen basar de parish, miruba parish. Eino ala mitzad halacha. That's just the halacha that we follow the rov. Aval eino vadai. Ve'eino misvar lomer de parish yoyse miruba. De mitzad atzmo safek shakel. Ela atore tira mishum de kol de parish miruba parish. Avim is sveka lo nafka. It's still a suffix. Even after you say kol de parish miruba parish, it still could be it was parish from the mute. That happens all the time. Ruba de lesa kaman kamo hacha ruba shama l'chulam dumel aviv. Wait a second, but the rov of Aviv, maybe he's not his father, and therefore you can't kill him when he wounds him. Can't say that. Why? Because that's a ruba de lesa kaman. Because rov bilos achar abal, and that's rov habam and asvara. Now, the logic doesn't dictate. There's no logical construct that tells you that if there are 9 McDavids and 1 McDonald's, that it came from the McDavids. Because maybe it came from the McDonald's. Not logic is going to dictate that way. But logic dictates that this is his father because we know that's the way the world works. That's the teva ha'olam. It's not something intellectual. It's just that's the way the world is. Rov bilos achar abal. Explains Reb Elchonon. The real one, not the counterfeit one. The counterfeit one is talking to you right now. So, Reb Elchonon says in Kovit Shirim Chelik Beisim in Memeos Yud Aleph, V'kavanoso lomar, to ruba de lesa kaman, hu b'toras beirur. A ruba de lesa kaman is a clarification. Kamo onan sadi v'zenik revadai. That's an unansade. We can testify that that's the way it is. That's the Beirut. And that's called Vadai. But called the Parish Meruba Parish is not B'Torah's Beirut, it's Xeris HaKosov. But if you need a Vadai, called the Parish Meruba Parish, Arbitnish, doesn't work. So we have Ruba de Lessa come on as a Beirut Vadai. That's the Teva Oilam, Teva Amitzias. And then we have Ruba Disa come on, which there's no svara to obligate that it has to be that way. So it's Xeris HaTorah. Just follow it. More instances. Follow the numbers, but Lav Dafka. To prove that it's a Xera of the Torah, there's a Claire of the Poskim and a Machloikis, how to be Machriya, about the following Shaila. Let's say you have 9 McDavids and 1 McDonald's, except that the McDonald's is selling to the Gentile population, and the McDavids are all selling to the Jews. Now, Gentiles are eating a lot more than Jews, even though Jews, we like to eat. We all know that. But Gentiles are eating more because there are more of them. There's 7 billion of them, and there are only about 11, 12 million of us. So, of course, if you go to the Kotel on Shavuos this morning, you'll already see more than 10, 11 million of us there. They say, statistics say, that there's a lot more Goyim than there are Jews in the world. So in that McDonald's, they have so much meat, it's more than all the McDavids. Okay? And now you find a piece of meat on the street. You find it in the corner. 72nd in Amsterdam. Where did it come from? Did it come from the McDavids? Or did it come from the McDonald's? On one hand, there are 9 McDavids, right? Called the Parish Meruba Parish. Most stores, 9 kosher stores, go with the McDavids, right? Especially to the Upper West Side. So many Jews. But maybe it came from the McDonald's because there's more meat in McDonald's than there is in all the 9 McDavids. There's one more meat in one McDonald's. And some poskim say, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Even though Svar, it's more logical that there's more meat from the McDonald's. Go with the McDonald's. No. There are 9 McDavids. You got to go with Kol Parish, Meruba Parish, 9 stores. Because Xeris HaKosov. Xeris HaKosov. But when it comes to Ruba, that's Ruba Disa come on. When it comes to Ruba Lessa come on, that's Teva Olam. That's makes sense. So that's the difference between Ruba Disa come on, Ruba Lessa come on. Now we understand Rashi, who before said, quoted it, that there's those team Ruba Disa and Ruba Lessa, because they're both learned from Acher Rab Lahatos. But we see there's a fundamental difference, right? Between Ruba and Ruba Disa and Ruba Lessa. But they're both learned from Acher Rab Lahatos because in the court they have both stages, as we saw. So Shimon Shkop in the Shari Yosher explains Pshat in the Rambam. He says like this: Beruba de Lessa Kamon Amr Torah Lismoch al Beiru Zel of Aris Hamitzius V'aleinu Lachziko B'Toras Vadai Shekenu B'Mitzius K'fi Ochachas Rov Mitzius. When it comes to Ruba de Lessa Kamons, you just got to go with the Mitzias. You just got to go, with the Rov. Because the Rov proves to you what the Mitzias is. If it's a Ruba de Lessa Kaman. Like all the cases we saw in the Gemara. And like we saw in the Rambam. The Rambam says that if a father marries off his daughter, she's a Ketana, you don't know if she's an islandess or not. Somebody has beer with her, they say Shasish, kill her. Chenek. Why? It's only a Rov, maybe she's an islandess. The answer is, it's a Ruba de Lessa Kaman. It's a Beirut Vadai. You have to assume she's not an islandess. But let's say you have a Ruba de Isa Kaman. Kamotino kanimtza be'ir sherov Yisrael darim sham. You have a child who's in a place that's mostly Jewish. Teaneck in Flatbush. I don't know if it's mostly Jewish, but certainly everybody I've ever met from there has been Jewish. So, and then the avalanche of rocks, Chas Shalom, falls on this child. You don't know if he's Jewish or not. So what do? Raksha Amr Torah, Achre Rabbim Lahatos. You don't know that he's definitely Jewish. You don't know. What does the Torah tell you? The Torah tells you, Acharei Rabbim Lahatos. Go after the majority. V'huchra adin, that the Tinok has a din Yisrael, l'chol dinei Torah, k'chol dinei Yisrael v'heter. Avalei Hare Golav. What about being killed because of a Ruba di Isa Kaman? That can't do, says Rav Shimon. Avalei Hare Golav. Im hargu also. O im ba echad al ishto shekidesh. Let's say somebody killed this Suffolk Jew. You can't kill based on a rov. So if the avalanche of racks falls, so then the pikuach nefesh, anyway, we don't follow the rov. So you assume that if it's rov Yisrael, you assume he's a Jew. And if it's rov akum, so what's the din if it's rov akum? Then it doesn't matter because pikuach nefesh is doiche this rov. But the chol adinim, you assume he's Jewish because you follow the rov. Because Acharei Rabbim Lahatos. Acharei Rabbim Lahatos. Avalei Hare Golav. But to be killed because of him. For example, if somebody kills this, even if it's Rov Yisrael, and somebody kills this child, and it's Rov Yisrael, not killed. Why? Because it's a Ruba D'Isa Kaman. The only reason you assume that he's Jewish is because of the numbers. And that's a Ruba D'Isa Kaman, and that's not a Vadai. And therefore, you can't kill. So in all those cases where we said that we can be Mechayiv Misa when it's a Rov, those were all, like we saw in the previous year, those were all Ruba D'Lesa Kamans. That people make mistakes in Ibor HaChodesh, and therefore their testimony contradicts. And that most women are giving birth at 9 months, the Ruba D'Lesa Kaman, and that determines when it's a Ben Sora or More. And that most animals are not shreifas. Ruba D'Lesa Kamans, it's 100%. And even Chiyuvei Misa could be determined based on that. Even that it's his father, Rov Bilos Achar Abal, Be'er Gomer. But when it's a Ruba, that's Ruba D'Lesa Kaman. When it's Ruba D'Isa Kaman, then everything changes. You can't kill based on Ruba D'Isa Kaman. So if most of the kids here are Jewish, and then you find this is Sufi in the Shuk, assume he's a Jew. But if somebody goes ahead and kills him, it's still Asr, it's Asr D'Oraisa, Chas Shalom. But no Chiyuv Misa? Why not? Because not 100%. It's a Ruba D'Isa Kaman. And therefore this as Sufi is going to have to be assumed, possibly, not to be Jewish, and Lo Holchim Achar Harov. Because we still have a suffix. So if it's a Ruba D'Isa Kaman, you've normally followed a Rov, but the suffix remains. And if the suffix remains, then you can't kill based on that suffix. So that explains the Rambam, who says that if somebody's Ba al Isha, who's married to an Asufi, you don't kill that person. Why? Because even though the Asufi was assumed to be a Jew, but there's a tzad that he's not Jewish. And therefore there's a tzad she's not an Eshes Ish. And you only assumed he was Jewish because of a Ruba D'Isa Kaman. It's not enough to be Mechayiv Misa. When we saw the case of the Islandess, maybe she's an Islandess, so how do you kill him for being Baal Al Ktana? Shekid Shavia. Oh, Rov, she's not an Islandess. So you're following the Rov. So why don't you follow the Rov here? Here it's Rov Yisrael. What's the answer? Big chiluk. Rov not being Ailonios is Ruba D'Lesa Kaman. Ruba D'Lesa Kaman is a Be'er Gomer. Be'er Gomer can be Mechayiv Misa. But when it comes to the Asufi, who marries this woman, Sipur Acher Legamre. Here you're only assuming he's Jewish because of Ruba D'Isa Kaman. And for Anna, you're not Mechayiv Misa. Ruba D'Isa Kaman, you can't be Mechayiv. There's still a Tzat Safek. Not 100%. So everything is glat, looks like. Obviously, there's loads more to say. But for this year, we have one stone that was left unturned, and that is, how do you explain the case of the guy who throws a rock? There are 9 Yisraelim, 1 Goy, and if not for the rule of Kol Kavul Kamechta Mechta Dami, you'd be Mechayiv Misa. Why? You're only Mechayiv Misa because it's a Ruba de Isa Kaman. Right? Because there are 9 Jews. So assume that he was trying to kill the Jew. So if it's a Ruba de Isa Kaman, how are you Mechayiv Misa? Again, you're not in the end because Kol Kavul Kamechta Mechta Dami. But if not for the rule of Kol Kavul Kamechta Mechta Dami, be Mechayiv Misa. Why? It's a Ruba de Isa Kaman. Ruba de Isa Kaman, you shouldn't be Mechayiv Misa. So the answer is that we know that the person who was killed was Jewish. There's no doubt about that. That's 100%. And we know that this person got Hasra beforehand. We also know that. Now we're trying to figure out, what's Teva Ha'adam? When a Teva Ha'adam, when he throws a rock and there are 9 Jews and one non-Jew, who's he going after, the Jew or the non-Jew? He's going after a Jew. There are 9 Jews in there and 1 non-Jew. So that's Teva Ha'adam. So it's not because of Ruba D'Isa Kaman, it's Ruba D'Lesa Kaman. And Mamela, if not for the klal of Kol Kavul Kamechta Mechta Dami, he'd be Chayiv Misa. B'siyata d'shmaya, we learned some big yisodos in this sugya. This sugya, chad me'asugyot ha'miratkot b'shas, Baruch Hashem. And we should be zoche, lachzor v'lishnos perek zeh, l'ilmod u'lamed lishmor v'lasu l'kayim is called divrei salmo terasa b'yahava. And always to remember that sof davar, hakol nishma, es elokim yirah, be'etz mitzvahs of shmor, ki zeh kol ha'adam. Shalom, shalom, sweetest and most beloved friends.